Great to have you with us. And in our first story, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Dr. Benjamin Agojo, has been arrested for his alleged involvement in the failed coup attempt as described as frivolous charges being held against him. Speaking for the first time since his arrest, Dr. Agojo stated he is too strong to be gagged, insisting he has done nothing wrong. He spoke to JoyNews after he appeared at the Kaneshie District Court this morning.
I want to wear Thank you very much for the support. These charges are frivolous. I'm as strong as anything. I'm not going to be bogged down.
We are behind you. We are behind you. Your family is behind you.
Your family can gag me. I have not committed any crime. I've done nothing wrong. I mean, the president called upon us to be citizens. So when I express my opinion on a WhatsApp platform unrelated to any alleged coup, nobody should bog me down. And I'll stand for this. I'll stand for this till the end. It's okay. It's okay. They cannot break me down at all. It's okay. And I'm as strong as anything.
It's okay.
Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much.
Dr. Agojo's relatives also spoke to JoyNews after the hearing.
We are very grateful to the whole country. Everywhere you pass, the cause in and outside Ghana, we are very grateful to everyone for the support they have shown us. At the end of the day, we believe that this same Ghanaian spirit, that we should be citizens, to which he's standing, would vindicate him at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
Right. Judge has spoken. So let's wait for Friday, 12 noon.
So what's your take about this whole thing, he being arrested for being...
I have no idea. The judge has spoken. The judge said 12 noon on Friday. So let's wait for 12 noon on Friday.
Are you worried that you can't...
The judge has spoken. Let's wait for the judge.
On the other hand, lawyers for Dr. Agojo are raising a preliminary objection. They say the district does not have the power to grant bail, and neither can the court remand him into custody. The court can only hear committal proceedings, which will require the state to hand them the bill of indictment. They are therefore urging the court not to proceed with the matter. They say the prosecution intentionally brought him to the Kaneshie District Court, knowing very well that the court has no jurisdiction. They further argue that it is an attempt to deny him bail. They want the court to reject the case. In the unlikely event that the court does not agree with them, the matter should be put on hold for constitutional interpretation to be sought. But State Prosecutor ASP Sylvester Asare disagreed with the application. According to him, the state objects to the submission. He says when a person is arrested by the state or an investigative agency, the suspect must be brought before a court within 48 hours on a charge. That is why the state appeared this morning. Now, the law, Article 14.3, does not suggest anywhere that the district court lacks jurisdiction, he says. Prosecution maintains that within 48 hours of the arrest, an appearance must be made in court. The district court is the court of first instance on matters to be trialed by indictment, he adds. He concludes that investigations are ongoing and are far advanced. Prosecution wants the suspects to be remanded into custody to assist with further investigations. We move quickly from this story. I'm Chairman of Parliament, still on the story, Chairman of Parliament's Select Committee on Defence, Seth A. Champon, has revealed ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo is the only senior police officer who has been picked up and detained in connection with the alleged coup plot. This is contrary to media reports suggesting that other top police officers, including the retired senior officer Peter Tobu, have been arrested for their alleged involvement in the purported coup plot. Mr. Achampon was speaking on the AM show with Mamavi Oswabwaje.
With my checks, he has never been mentioned anywhere. They have never contacted him. They've never called him. He's not come up for any form of investigation.
He wasn't with the BNI.
He is not. He was not invited by the
He
BNI.
didn't slip over.
Never.
He's not appearing in court today.
No, I don't know where that news is coming from. It's news to me. And I think this is the reason why I respect our democracy. And I think we should all hasten slowly and get, like I said at the outset of this very matter, I said we should allow due process to take its course. And we should, for me, I believe, listen, the president is a human rights advocate, and till today, he's one of our best that we've had in producing this country.
Isn't that why it is most surprising that Dr. Agojo would be arrested on Monday and his family would be there on Tuesday from 6 a.m. only to see him around 4? Isn't that why it is most surprising? Because this has happened, if this happened under other administrations, maybe people would say, oh, yeah. But here's a president with a certain record.
Mama V, you and I understand, and Dr. Agojo himself knows, that the security architecture works differently. And so we have a history. And for some of us, we must ensure that the Constitution is adequately and overly respected. And I'm gladdened that it is not, and we are still not in the era when people are taken away and beyond 48 hours, nobody is able to contact them.
Maybe we haven't breached that, but we've breached certainly the bit that says you have a right to a counsel when you're arrested.
Fortunately or unfortunately, yes, you have a right to counsel. They never deprive you of a right to counsel.
Counsel was there, only saw him late afternoon. Why do you take me and refuse me, somebody who should be there speaking for me?
The investigators best answers those questions. It happens across board. It's not just...
I guess I'm raising it because of the president's track record of human rights that you presented in this conversation.
The president, unfortunately, is not synonymous to our Constitution and the creations out of the Constitution. That is why I talked about due process. The president is not. The president, as an actor, by the creation, has been able to do his best and exemplified himself. So he carries that record along, and he ensures that even within that space and creativity, we should ensure that the rights of people are respected.
Now, away from that story, leadership of Parliament has again renewed calls for MPs to be given police protection at home. Member of Parliament for Inshayesu constituency, Kennedy Kankam, was held at gunpoint for 3 hours. The unidentified assailants reportedly scaled a wall into the main yard of the MP's residence and used a metal cutter to gain access to the bedroom of the legislator. Majority Leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu questioned why DCEs have been given police protection, but MPs have been ignored.
Issue have been all the members of Parliament are very many. The Speaker, if we must be candid with ourselves, today we have so many districts that have been created, and yet, appropriately so, MMDCs are provided with security. Why can't we do the same for members of Parliament? I think going forward, the country should make a determined effort, be very decisive about this, because we cannot continue to imperil the lives of members of Parliament. Many of us have suffered robberies, highway robberies, because many of us are not accompanied by security personnel. I think one of our colleagues between Nsawam and Koforidua, between Nsawam and Suhum, 2 of our colleagues were attacked by armed robbers. One other between Koforidua and Bunsu Junction. They were all safe. It was great because the case of 2 of them, they were shortcuts, but they missed it. The Speaker, I think the time has come for the state to take a decision on the security of members of Parliament. Because I think the passing of days, the situation is getting worse and worse. So I will end with a humble plea to the minister responsible for Interior. Unfortunately, he's not here. I think the House should come together and make a representation to him that indeed from now on, a decision has to be taken on the way forward about the security of members of Parliament. Speaker, I thank you for the space allowed. Thank you.
Let's stay with the story a few more minutes, and Parker Wilson has joined us on the line from Parliament. Parker Wilson, tell us who else has been commenting on this matter? Parker, if you can hear me, we want to know who else has been commenting on this matter on the floor of Parliament.
Oh, I mean, almost all the MPs have been contributing to the conversation, and when the majority leader, Chairman Sebonsu, raised the concern, all the members of Parliament seated today in the House were nodding in the affirmative that indeed this is a matter of concern, and then the time has come for government to provide members of Parliament with some security protection or police presence. Now, the Member of Parliament for Asawase, Honorable Montaka, argue that when a Member of Parliament loses his life, there are some financial implications because the country would have to go for a by-election and elect a new candidate. Parties would have to conduct parliamentary primaries to elect a candidate before the by-election. So these are huge concerns. Even DCs don't go through that process because if a DC is murdered, is killed, all government needs to do within a matter of hours just to appoint an individual to replace him. But in this manner, there has to be a by-election. So it is important that they talk about the safety of members of Parliament. Then the minority leader came in to say that, yes, he agrees that the safety of members of Parliament is very important. But then again, the allowances, they have 10% security, which in a sense, no, they are not really benefiting from the security. They are just enjoying the financial, the monetary value in there. So if they are willing to forfeit that 10%, then it will be prudent for the government to now provide security for members of Parliament. And they all agree that, yes, they are willing to do that. So the Interior Minister, who is also a member of Parliament, and fortunately for the MPs, is in the House today, said that already there are plans to safeguard the lives of the MPs because of what happened to J.B. Dankwa, the late. And as a matter of fact, some arrangements are ongoing. Now, on the floor, he requested for the residential address of members of Parliament. And interestingly, Daniel, the minority opposed. They said, no, they are not ready to share their residential address with the minister or any member of government. Rather, they need to fashion out a comprehensive plan on how to safeguard their lives. So the Speaker, Jose Usu, indicated that if that is the case, then the security agencies, together with the Interior Minister and the Defense and Interior Committee, should meet, deliberate on the matter, work out some roadmap, some plan on how they can protect the lives of MPs. And within 2 weeks, submit the report to the House so that the House can adopt the report and say, this is the way we are going. Because the presence of a policeman in your house is actually insufficient because some members of Parliament have already been attacked whilst they had police protection. So they need a comprehensive plan on safeguarding the lives of MPs.
Thank you very much, Parker Wilson, for that update. And we'll be waiting for that plan, which is coming out after 2 weeks. Let's now go to the Upper East region, where residents of Bolgatanga are on demonstration to protest the bad nature of roads in that regional capital. My colleague, Albert Sorry, joins us live with the latest. Albert, when did this protest start? Where have they gotten to?
Okay, so the protest started this morning in the regional capital, Bolgatanga. Now, the demonstration has just ended. What I can report to you is that the movement for the development of Upper East, which is a youth group, spearheaded this demonstration. And something interesting happened a while ago. The youth had to go and withdraw a petition they had come with to present to the regional minister. And the reason is that when they got to the regional coordinating council, the minister said she was in a meeting and delegated her administrator to come and receive the petition on their behalf. On her behalf. But then the youth insisted that they had communicated their intention to embark on this demonstration to register their concerns about the bad nature of roads in the municipal capital. And so they did not see why the minister couldn't spare some 2 or 5 minutes just to hear them out and to receive their petition and tell them what she was going to do about it. For a very long time, they continued to, demonstrate in front of the Regional Coordinating Council, and the minister still couldn't make time to come and see them. And so they decided that if she was not going to hear them out, they were going to withdraw the petition, and then they will meet later to decide on what action they are going to take next.
Interesting developments there, Albert. Have we heard from the Regional Coordinating Council as to why the minister could not make it? Has the minister spoken after this?
Yeah, so I spoke with the minister privately, and she said that she was in a very serious meeting with people who have come from UDS and other investors. And her reason is that the meeting she is having is also in relation to the development of the region. And so if she is working with people and she has asked somebody to receive the petition on her behalf, she didn't see why the youth would continue to insist that they wanted to see her personally. And her deputy minister is not also around. And because of that, she couldn't come out immediately to see them as they were requesting. What she says is that she was going to take the petition later on and meet with the leadership of the youth group who organized the demonstration. And so for her, seeing her personally was not really a big issue as the youth were making it look. But then they insisted that, if they didn't see the minister herself, it meant that she did not care about the concerns of the people of this region as far as roads and other developmental issues which they raised during the course of the demonstration is concerned. So this is basically the issue. But the roads in particular, last year we did a story on JoyNews which highlighted the bad nature of some of the roads in the capital. And after some time, they came and patched the roads. But then when the rainy season started this year, the roads went back to the exact same state that they were in last year. And so for many people, it has been a source of concern. And that is how come today these youth decided to lead a demonstration on the roads.
Thanks, Albert, for that update. Let's move from that story. And the executive director of IDEC, Dr. Emmanuel Akwete, wants Ghanaians to play a role in reorganizing the country's political parties to produce a democratic culture that enhances development. He said, left alone, the parties will not evolve in a matter that facilitates development. Dr. Akwete believes the election of MMDCEs on party lines is a great start. Head of the National Commission on Civic Education, Mrs. Josephine Nkrumah, said there is an urgent need to educate the general public to be development-oriented.
The solution is that if you allow the parties or you say yes, and MMDCs are also to be elected on 243, you have created 260 elective posts in the executive arm of government, in addition to the president. Now it's only the president that is elected directly by the people. These parties will contest for that. It goes across regions with their strongholds and so on, but small parties would also do well. Okay, and then you've done away with this crude winner takes all, or the violence that threatens us all the time because I didn't win the presidency, because somebody did this and that and so on and so forth. So we must create space, but the space cannot only be created for elections. It must also be space so that the competition can shift to development. If your people elect you in District A and you are from MPP and District B is also from MPP, but District B, MPP is doing better than District A, they'll vote A out. They'll not say, I'm going to keep him there because it's MPP. In the same way, you find out that NDC would also be voted out or voted in because people are now going to solve the problems they want, the development they need, the sanitation, the quality of life that they want to go in, the education, the future of prosperity that the Constitution talks about here. So it's a reform to change the system.
So you believe that is where the solution lies?
It will
in
contribute
voting yes
immensely because it's a structural thing. It's going to lead to reforms, representation. Kojo was talking about representation. We want to see women's representation strengthened in the system. In fact, they have more competence if they go into politics than the men.
Mr. Nkrumah is excited by that.
No, seriously. And although the Constitution said 30% of the 30 or 1/3 of it has never happened. And look at how the parties are handling it. But there is opportunity now to see our women in the assembly as chief executives. And affirmative law should back that.
Interesting.
These are important things we must do for this country to move forward because competence is there.
Interesting. Thank you very much.
I work with a lot of them, and I know that they are very competent.
I'm sitting by one, and she's very competent.
so it's a huge reform. It's not partisan politics. It is to reform the system. Make a decision to change the system.
Mr. Nkrumah, let's come to you for your solutions. In 2 minutes. Where do you think we should begin?
Our solutions, basically, for me, when we talk about development, it won't happen in a vacuum. A lot of development must go with a human capital development. So for me, my focus would be on developing the mindset of the average citizen, how we ourselves would chart our development path. If we don't know where we want to go and we allow those who we elect take us anywhere, then we will never be happy. So for me, it's for us to begin to pay particular attention to the development of mindset. How do we reorient the average citizen to think about development? And development not only in terms of himself or herself, but development of community. We must begin to think like that. How are we going to do that? And a lot of it lies in the kind of education that goes on. Education, even academic education, civic education, education in the media space.
Now, President Akufo-Addo on Tuesday cut the sword for the construction of a 300-meter Volta Rail Bridge at Ogoli in the North Tongue district of the Volta region. The rail bridge, which spans from Senchi to Mpakadan, forms part of the 93 million Tema Mpakadan rail project, which is being constructed by Afcons Infrastructure Limited with funding from the Indian Exim Bank. Speaking before the sword cutting, President Akufo-Addo indicated completion of the Tema Mpakadan rail project would facilitate exploitation of natural resource deposits along the rail network and transform the country's economy as well.
The line from Tema to Ouagadougou is going to continue from Drapo. Begins in Tema, it will come to Drapo and then go up to Ouagadougou. It's going to make Drapo a very important railway town in this entire area in the very near future. The proposed investment that is coming will transform not just the area, but the entire Volta region. The procurement is ongoing, and if everything goes smoothly, the strategic partner to join the two countries of Ghana and Burkina to construct the rail line will be chosen next year in 2020. The line will go through Volta, Oti, North, Northeast, and Upper East regions. And it will afford us the opportunity to make a great deal of our iron ore deposits in Shini. Already we've set up a public corporation that is going to be responsible for mobilizing the resources to exploit and develop the Shini deposits. The railway line that is going to be put in place is going to make that development even more feasible and efficient. The modern standard gauge railway network, which we're developing, is going to transform the entire nation. Sections of the narrow gauge are being rehabilitated, and construction of the new standard gauge has begun here as well as in the Volta region. Next year, more projects are going to be initiated and commence.
We stay with the rail sector because the Minister for Railway Development, Joe Garte, has assured that the first 100 kilometers of the Ghana-Burkina Faso railway line will be completed by August 2020. Speaking as the Meet the Press series in Accra today, the minister said the project, if completed, will enhance our position as a center of African trade. Mr. Garte also noted that government will soon pay compensation packages to those who have been affected by the construction of the railway lines in various parts of the country. JoyNews' Ernest Kojomenu joins us on the phone with more. Ernest, what more has the minister been saying?
Well, Daniel, altogether, the railway line from Ghana to Burkina Faso is 1,000 kilometers. We have 800 of it here in Ghana and 200 in Burkina Faso. It will interest you to note that the minister said the Burkina Faso government, despite the fact that there's a greater part of the line here in Ghana, they've decided to take up 50% of the cost of whatever we spend or whatever is projected to be spent on the railway line. And so this first 100 falls within our jurisdiction. However, in terms of the works that will be going on, they are willing to share 50% of the cost. And so we are looking at from Tema to in Pakadan, that area. That is where the rail is taking off from, and that will go all the way to Paga, because the Burkina Faso government would want Ghana to enter their country through Paga instead of the other one, the other line, which is Hamle. And even that is on the table for consideration. And so the minister has assured that all the other projects, aside this one, is also on course. And he is very confident that come 2020 August, we would have seen the first 100-kilometer line completed, and then they would proceed from there. And the issue of compensation also came up because we know that people are affected while these lines are being constructed or engineered. And he fell short of mentioning how much has been budgeted for them, except to say that they will be well taken care of, Daniel.
Ernest, did the minister mention where the source of the funding is coming from?
Well, we know that government has multiple sources, a lot of it through loans that will be constructed by government. Some have been taken to Parliament. And so mainly this is, we're getting loans for them. There are others where, the construction firms are sort of building, they will operate and then transfer. But specifically with this Paga line, I'm not so sure about a BOT, except to say that government is taking care of the funding.
Thank you very much, Ernest Kojomenu, for joining us with that update. We move from railways now, and two NGOs, F. Derry Foundation and Berry Health and Sexual Reproduction, jointly organized an event to advance reproductive health to the doorstep of the less privileged. Leader of the survey recommends provision of a decent accommodation can help reduce the incidence of some of the reproductive health issues identified among them. Founder of Berry Health and Sexual Reproduction, Dr. Makafui Tavia, explains the move is to reduce the incidence of preventable diseases in the face of sustainable development goals. Prince Apia was there. Now reports.
Over 300 head porters, popularly known as Kayayi, gathered at the Kumasi Jubilee Park for the screening exercise. Officials say, though some of the head porters know about cancer, they admitted hearing of cancer of the breast for the first time. Here is one of them, Haja Muhammad.
That one is true because it is not all places that information have been spreading to. So as they are doing that program here, I think those like us who are from different villages will get to know about it better. They have been advising us how to train every month when you had your menses, how to press your breast and all those things, and how to know whether you had the breast cancer or not. They have taught us how to do it.
Founder of F. Derry Foundation, Faustina Derry, explains the move is imperative to achieve universal health per the Sustainable Development Goals.
We actually deal with the girl child's welfare, and I did a survey, and I realized that most of these young ladies the head porters called Kayayes do not know anything about breast cancer. Even all of them have never heard of breast cancer. And when they came here, we confirmed it. We asked them, and all of them said they've never heard anything about breast cancer. So we decided to bring them together today, give them some education about breast cancer, how to even examine themselves at home, and also do a screening for them. So I'm appealing to the government to help these young ladies. At least if we can just provide them with accommodation, that is the major issue right now. Because I'm sure if they have a proper place to sleep, it will help prevent all these diseases and all that.
Founder of Berry Sexual and Reproductive Health Foundation, Dr. Makafui Tevia, advised the head porters to regularly visit the clinic.
As Berry Health Foundation, we keep telling people and sensitizing people that health is very important. If you are healthy, then you can be able to do whatever you are doing and develop yourself. You cannot develop if you are not healthy, and so health is very important. And we employ everybody to take his or her health very seriously. If there's any slight change in your body, just visit the health facility.
They were also taken through some sensitization and sexual health programs. The free breast and health screening was supported by personnel of Sachs Healthcare and Mackenzie Hospital. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, some 30 students have been quarantined by health officials at the Presbyterian Boys Senior High School in Legon. The school says these students reported to the school's clinic complaining of headaches and general weaknesses. Speaking to JoyNews, the senior housemaster Kofi Yesu denied rumors of outbreak, except to say that blood samples were taken from a number of them, which have been sent to Noguchi to determine what was accounting for the numbers.
What I will tell the general public, parents, and all stakeholders is that there's nothing like that in Presec. Yes, in a normal day, we have students visiting our clinic, especially when it's getting to mid-semester break and then the main semester break. You'll find a lot of them going to the clinic all because they want to go home early. And that is not different from what we are seeing at the moment. There are few people which people are anticipating or they think that they have been attacked by the flu. But we don't have the mandate, even if it is so, to pronounce anybody who has been attacked by something like that. So we call the Noguchi people, the municipal director of health also came around and we've taken blood samples, the saliva to the Noguchi institution for them to check or go through and then do their own investigation to find out whether indeed it is true that something of what you have mentioned in regards to the with regards to the bird flu is happening in Presec. But as I stand here, there is nothing like that.
But how many students reported ill between that Saturday and today?
From Saturday till we stand here, we have close to 30 students, yes, who are reported about different ailment, but that one is normal. We have 3,600, and the 3,600 each day, we have 3 nurses in our school, knowing very well what the children go through all the time. So every now and then we have one person or the other going to the clinic to complain about ailment, and they treat the person. Yesterday, for instance, somebody was rushed to Legon Hospital. It was asthmatic. It was not anything in connection with bird flu. So if you ask me anything about bird flu, that is what I will tell you. I will want to assure the parents that they should stay calm. There's nothing bad happening to their wards. If anything bad, when the results come today, we will base upon that and then tell them what is going on. But as we speak, there's nothing bad going on in Presec. Classes are going on and lessons are also going on.
But you seem to suggest that there's absolutely nothing wrong when between just Saturday and today you've reported about 30 students. You don't think that at least there's a cause for worry?
That is what I've told you, that this is not the first time that we have recorded this. Over the years, you know, some people are panicking because of what is in the news concerning the outbreak somewhere. And we have lived with these boys over the years. They cough, they do everything. But now, if anybody coughs, you know what the next person is going to tell them. Hey, you have catch the flu. You have done this, you have done that. That has been in the system for a very long time. And I can assure you that as I stand here, there's nothing bad happening to PRESEC.